Hey everybody, I hope you're doing great today. Yes, today I'm coming to you from the kitchen. I know I usually am coming on doing segments about video or something business related, but over the years I've given you guys a lot of ideas trying to inspire you to do lifestyle segments, so I decided I'm going to take my own advice and do some of my own lifestyle segments. And with doing that, we're coming in the kitchen and we're going to be doing some baking today and talking about legacy recipes, because legacy recipes, those are the recipes that have been handed down through the generations, that when they adorn your table and they are set in front of you, prepared for you with love and care, it resonates with the heart. And so one of the recipes that resonates with the heart of my family is apple pie. So if you didn't know, I grew up on a farm in Pennsylvania, and my dad's parents were also farmers. And my grandmother, who actually is my namesake, her name is Louise, and they never called her Weezy, but that I know of. But anyways, her name was Louise, and I was named after her. Something else that we have in common is that she had mad skills in the kitchen. She was great at cooking and baking. And so she had a large family, so she made pies and cakes and everything, and you always wanted to go to Grandma's house because everything was just always super yummy. I could go on forever, but we're going to stick with the apple pie topic today. And so it's apple season now, and it invokes a lot of emotion. There's a lot of fun things around the apple season, but today we're going to talk about making an apple pie and using the crust. And before I go on and give you the recipe for the apple pie, I need to tell a short little story that goes along with the heritage of this recipe. Is my mom went to my grandmother when she was a new bride, and she said, I really want to make a good pie, but my crust just is not turning out. What's going wrong? I'm following the recipe. And my grandmother goes, just stop right there. Yes, you can use the pie crust recipe as a guideline, but there's things that happen with not with apple pie, but with the pie crust. You have to feel it. There's a texture that it needs to be. There's a size that when you cut the lard into the flour, it needs to be a certain size and a texture before you go ahead and add the liquid and roll it out. So my mom went by that for the rest of her days that she made pie. My mom's still alive, but she's not making pies. And my mom went on to perfect the apple pie recipe that holds standard to our family today. In fact, I was just in Pennsylvania a couple weeks ago, and my niece Ivy, she herself is a great baker, but she said, I make a lot of things, but I do not do the apple pie. And I go, you don't? And she goes, no. She goes, Grandma used to always make the apple pie, and I just always ate it, and it was so good that I'm a little intimidated that I can't live up to Grandma's standards. And I said, oh, well, luckily I inherited a guesstimation recipe from my mom, and so I've handed that now down to Ivy so that she'll feel more confident to be able to make apple pies for her future family, or when she comes together for it. So when you make pies, it can be a family fun event. Everybody can have a little task. So when I make pies at home, Barry is usually my helper, particularly with apple pie. And so he peels and slices and cores the apples for me while I take care of everything else. But he's not here with me today. So today I have my friend Corinne Brown with me. Welcome, welcome. Come on in here, Corinne. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Now, what you might not know about, well, I'm sure you don't know about Corinne, is she was born and birthed in Tupperware. Her family has a long legacy of being part of the Tupperware family of sales. And so we are highlighting the Tupperware products today while we make our pie. And Corinne's going to demonstrate for us just how easy it is to use their products to get these apples peeled fast and into the pie. Because the faster we get the pie into the oven, the quicker we can get it in our belly.
I like it. I like it. Yeah.
So, what are we going to do? What are we going to use first?
Well, we do have our apples, and I do have my apples here stored in Tupperware's Fridge Smart containers. A lot of times you'll buy a whole bushel, but you don't need all of them, and you don't want them to go bad, because when you throw food away, you throw away what?
Money.
And we want to keep more green in your pocket as well as in your fridge. So the Fridge Smart are an atmosphere controlled environment, and they prolong the life of your produce 3 to 4 times longer. I even had organic pears and apples last almost 2 months in my fridge, which means when I decided not to be healthy, it was okay, and it didn't make that big of a deal, you know, which is pretty cool.
So what's this little tool that you're using?
Now we have to peel our apples. I've realized I forgot my trash bin. So this is the Tupperware's Click It Peeler Set. I love this. Like literally, it goes right in and you clicks, pull it out, and then you can pick and choose. Because some people like to peel sideways, some people peel vertically, or you just want a really big one for ribbons. And that's the great thing about this peeler set. Plus, you get that lifetime quality guarantee like everything in Tupperware, because you deserve the best, not the rest. So we're gonna take it. I like doing the sideways because I like to do little ribbons. It's kind of like, can I do the longest thing ever? It's like a game for me. I'm a little bit of a weirdo sometimes. Look at that, isn't that fun?
Let's see.
How far can we go?
She's going.
Woo! It takes patience. And if you guys know, patience is a virtue. And we're almost there?
We're almost there. So why?
Bam!
There she goes. So in the recipe, we're doing a total of 6 apples. Now she's going to core the apple with their corer.
I love it. Comes right out. Pop it in the trash.
Pop it in. We're going to use. So today she's also going to show us how to use the mandolin to make these apple slices uniform.
The apple, because you want them to be uniform. Now we're using the height of a 6 on here for the mandolin. So that way we can get the nice even across the board, and we just take it and just go. Make sure you use the guard. Please don't use it without the guard, because we don't need fingers in our pies. Well, it is Halloween soon.
I'm just watching because it's amazing. It just
slices them right out. I mean, look at that. Isn't that great?
So we have nice even slices, and then we're going to use a knife and just chop them in half. And then you know, you want to keep your apple slices pretty, so the secret to that is using a little bit of lemon juice. So we're going to squeeze some
in there too. And the lemon press is great because you don't want seeds in it, you know?
Yeah.
And I know I tried it with a fork. I always get seeds, but the lemon lime press is the best because then you can just get that on there. Less oxidation, right?
Okay, so we're going to throw that on there. So moving on with the recipe, we are going to go ahead and add 1.5 cups sugar. And 1/4 cup of flour. And then we also took this zester and zested up some lemon. Lemon zest is a little secret ingredient that I have adapted to the recipe.
I have never put zest in my apple pies. Have y'all? Like, I'm gonna try this. I'm really excited about this new idea.
And so while we were talking about the zester, another thing I do is instead of using the powdered nutmeg, if you have not tried using fresh grated nutmeg, it does make a difference because it gives it a nice fresh taste to your pie filling. And so you grate that. It doesn't take a whole lot, so just run it across your grater maybe about 10 times. And then we have some cinnamon, and we're going to put a teaspoon of cinnamon in here. That's a teaspoon. So let's measure that in there, and if a little extra, like it's going over a little bit, it's okay because that's just yummy goodness. And then, nope, this goes later.
Okay, so I'll finish mixing
we've got
this.
So while she's mixing that, we're going to move on to the pie crust. Now, back in the day,
smells so good.
Oh, it does smell good. Back in the day, you know, they had to roll out the pie crust, and I told you about the story about my grandmother. But these days, the already made pie crusts are great. I didn't used to use them. I was a purist, and I would make my own pie crust. And that's one of the other reasons pie was so labor intensive. But now I just go to the store. I do prefer the store brand of pie crust. the big name. So, but look at this. You just pop it out, put it into the pie plate. And while you're working on this part, you can go ahead and preheat your oven to 375. So it can be getting nice and warm, and we've already done that ahead of time. So when you put your pie crust in, you want to flute the edges. So you just want to take 2 fingers and put on the outside edge, and take your pointer finger from your other hand and just kind of pull it back towards you. So very quickly just move around the pie crust and flute the edges. If you have a little excess, just fold it over and just keep on working the edges till you have a nice fluted edge to your crust.
That is so cool. I always just would trim the edges off and use a fork, but the fluting is so much prettier.
The fluting is prettier, and then, well, you'll see it. It also gives a nice little decoration because the pie filling will ooh and goo kind of through there.
Ooh, that's like crunchy goodness.
So now just go ahead and dump your pie filling into the pie. Now when she's done here, I'm going to add dots of butter into the pie. This is another addition that I've added to my mother's recipe. This idea came to me, and I know some people do it already, but it does make a difference. My husband, that Barry, he introduced me to adding butter to applesauce, warm applesauce, and it just gives a nice creamy taste. It's really good.
I've never done that either.
Okay, so here, go ahead and take that spatula and help me get this butter off.
Get them in the, come little butter, come. Move them around, keep you over here.
Yeah, so just kind of, dot the butter around. So anyways, we have our nice filling. Everything's all in there. And then we're going to take our other pie crust and shake it out. Get it ready to go onto our delicious apple pie. There's just something about apple pie. There's so many, if you like spices and sugar, and then a little fat from the lard, there's just something that makes your mouth just so happy, and the smell that it invokes in your house. This is already smelling without even baking.
No, the first nutmeg I think is a lot of it too. It's just with that lemon juice and the way it reacts when you're taking it, it just gives you that nice warm feeling. I'm already ready for fall.
But of course we are also baking another pie in the oven for the magic of this segment. So we will be pulling that out in a few seconds after I get this part done. So I'm just going to finish fluting the pie real quick. And I'm going to take the knife and 1, 2, 3, cut 3 slits into the top to vent. And here is your pie, all ready to go into the oven. So, Corinne, do you have some pot holders? Because I think this other pie is ready to come out.
Oh, yes.
So like I said, you're going to set your oven for 375, and you're going to bake this pie for 15 minutes.
And got it. So we'll trade those out so we can have the new one. Oh.
And so then we're going to put this in, and then so with that all done, then you're going to bake it for another 45 minutes on 350. If you would like the recipe, I will give you all of this. It will be in the details below. So of course, here we have this nice hot apple pie. We need a plate because Corinne has got to taste it to verify that I make a mean apple pie.
I never doubted you for a minute.
So yes, we would usually use a server, but in the test of time, we're just going to go ahead and pull that out. Oh,
don't drop it.
And Tupperware actually makes an ice cream scooper too. Ooh,
here, I'll help you with that one. And the cool thing, just for the ice cream scoop, it's made of zinc. So it actually melts on contact. It's not Freon on the handle. It's not the heat of your hand. It's actually the metal, because zinc is actually warmer than room temperature. So it melts on contact. Look at that.
What a pretty little dollop that makes. So we'll put a little dollop of ice cream with that. And I've gotten so I use gelato when I make apple pie, or when I have ice cream, because the new ice creams are whipped so full of air that it just kind of melts all over the place. But with the gelato holds its form.
I do love gelato. We actually bought a lot of gelato this week because you've been talking about it so much. It makes a difference.
So anyways, we're going to find a little piece of apple here for Miss Corinne.
Yum.
I should let her. So here you go, ma'am. There. Be careful because it's a little warm. I think she's happy. I know when I taste it, my mouth usually sings. It invokes emotions, and it takes me back to sitting down at the family table and everybody enjoying. And my dad was always the best judge of the pie. And if you could make a good apple pie, you had to set to his standards. And if you could pass his test, then you had done something good. And I'm glad to say that I was able to pass his test for making awesome apple pie. So, I just want to thank you for joining us today. And if you have recipe ideas that you would like us to try, please send them my way. I have a panel of people that test out the recipes, and if we like them, we will ask you to be on as a guest. So anyways, bon appetit everybody, and have a great day. Bye-bye.